Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night from wherever it is that you're watching me from and whatever time it is that you're watching me at. My name is Margaret Mbaki and I am back yet again with another Kenyan recipe, Mokimo. This is a mashed potato and peas. Join me as I prepare my family dinner. Today we are going to use a jiko as our source of heat, so it was already running. I just had to add some charcoal and put sufuria with water on top of it, waiting for it to boil so that I can add my peas in that I had already peeled. This is about 1 kg of peas cleaned, so I'll come and add them into my already almost boiling water. Add it in there and wait for it to soften so that we can add our potatoes. At this point, I'm going to add some salt so that it doesn't lose the color. Enough salt. After adding the salt, you're going to cover it and wait for it to come to boil. So I'll wait. As I wait, I go peel up the potatoes. This is what's going to make the mash. As a mom of toddlers, twin toddlers, you have to like work around them. So I'm peeling, going check on them, coming back, checking on them. I peeled about 2 kgs of potatoes. This was just about enough, so I have to clean them and then bring them to a point. At this point, the peas are already boiled, so I have to put them down and add my potatoes. So at this point, I had already put my baby on my back because he was a bit cranky. It was in the evening, so they were a bit cranky. So I'm going to clean up the potatoes. Make sure you thoroughly clean them because they tend to have a lot of sand because they are straight from the farm. So you'll clean up, check on the babies, come back, clean up again. Yeah, being a mom of toddlers sometimes can be hectic, working around little babies. Okay, my peas are ready, so I put them down. And go bring my potatoes. I'll just add water and cover it, and salt water and salt, then cover it and wait for it to come to boil until it's super soft. So I'll cover it. After some time, come check if they are a bit soft. I'll add the peas inside and let them come to boil again until the potatoes are okay. You keep on checking until they are super soft. The potatoes are ready for mashing. At this point, they were still not ready. So I'll go make some cabbages as I wait. Coming some few minutes later, yes, they were ready now. They are breaking as you poke them with a fork. So it's about time I drain the water and start mashing. So you mash. If you have a potato masher, the better. But I don't have one, so I'm using the muiko. So you'll mash until the peas and the potatoes are super combined. They are combined completely. It should be greenish. The mash should be greenish in color. So you mash until it's totally combined. Remember, the only thing that I've used here is salt and water. Salt and water, you boil them. You mash until it's totally combined. The peas should also have been mashed. As you can see, this is now green. The peas are not totally gone, but that is usable. If you have a food processor, you can process the peas so that you cannot see them. But I don't have one, so I'm going to use it that way. Now that the mash is ready, I'm going to take another pot, add some oil, and I had already prepared some green onions. So I'll add enough oil and then add in some spring onions and let it cook for some few minutes. I'm waiting for the oil to heat up kidogo. Once the oil has heat up, add some green onions in it and let it cook but not burn it. Let it cook but not burnt. So I'll let it cook for a few more minutes. until you this at this point you can leave it either translucent, or you can cook it until it browns kidogo, but that is totally on any person's preference. So I'll cook for a bit longer and wait for it to be cooked vizuri. Cook kidogo kidogo until it's starting to brown but not browned. I don't like it browned totally, and then I don't like it just translucent. I have to wait it to start browning at the edges. As you can see, it has started browning. So at this point, I'm taking it off the heat and adding it to my mash. So at this point, take it from the fire and add it to the mash, and then continue mashing. Mix it well. At this point, if you like any spices on your mash, you could have done them with the onions. You can add black pepper, you can add any spice that you like. But then because I have children, I'm not going to add any peppers. So the mash is done. So I'm going to prepare the cabbage. So I start cutting up the onions. I love using the red onions on my stew. So I'll do the onions, the tomatoes, still taking care of the toddlers. Working around the toddlers is quite hectic sometimes because you have to be mindful of everything you're doing. Don't leave the knives anyhow. Don't make sure you're seeing where they are walking around. You have some fire running, so you have to be very mindful. So I'm going to chop up enough tomatoes. I'm making cabbage on these ones. So enough tomatoes. I think I used three tomatoes. And then I'm going to look for probably a bell pepper, a green bell pepper. And my kids don't do well with bell peppers. They do remove them from the food if they come across them. So I prefer mostly grating. So I'll grate them up because once they find it anywhere, they remove it. So I'll grate it up so that when it cooks, it's not that much visible. They won't even be aware that they are taking them. So I'll grate up some bell peppers. I'm going to make a cabbage for the mokimo. Once the bell peppers are done, I'm going to get some saumus and some royco cubes. These are the spices I'm going to use. Oh, this was the spring onions that I cut up for the mash. It was a bit earlier. So those are the spices that I'm going to use on the same pot that I was using to heat up the oil for the mokimo. I'm just going to add a bit of oil and then start up with my cabbage. The first thing I'm going to add in are my onions. Once the oil has heat up, I'll put in my red onions. Wait for it to cook. I love the sizzle. Wait for it to cook a bit until it's translucent. This time round, I'm making it until it's a bit translucent. I added in the onions and the garlic. Then put on some spices, some beef masala and some curry powder. Remember the mokimo was quite plain. I'm going to put in my hoho and let it sweat for a bit. Once it's cooked, I'm now going to add my tomatoes. Once the bell peppers are cooked, I'll add in the tomatoes and then let it cook until it sweats down. Put in the salt and wait for the tomatoes to cook. Wait for the tomatoes to cook until they are all properly cooked. So I'll cover and wait for the tomatoes to cook. Once you keep on checking and trying to mash them, because I don't like chunks of tomatoes on my food, so I like them very well cooked. You keep on checking on them and making sure that you're not burning your food. Check on them again and then start mashing them if they're not like cooked, because now the time is running out and the baby should be fed by now. Once it is a good sauce like this and it is well cooked, this is a good sauce. I'm going to add in my cabbages. These cabbages I had prepared earlier. Cabbages and carrots. Give them a few minutes to sweat down, and then go and stir them again, because now the tomatoes might stick on the sufuria. So I'll cook it down, let it sweat down. This is going to be my side for the mokimo. Cover it up again, cook it around, cover it up. Clean your space as you go. You clean your space as you go. As the cabbage cooks, so I'm going to start preparing another onion, because I noted that I didn't have salad, so I'm going to make some salsa, or rather kachumbari. So I'll chop about one onion, the red onion, cut up one of it to make my salsa, and then I'm going to soak it on warm water. Going to soak the onion on warm water to make sure that it's not warm water and salt. You can do warm water and vinegar. You can do warm water and lemon according to your liking. Me, I'm going to do warm water and salt. Let it soak for some few minutes, and then get the tomatoes again so that you can make your salsa. More tomatoes and chop for the salad. Keep on checking on your cabbage. We don't want it to burn, and we don't want it to cook too much, because it will be a bit crunchy. This time I'm liking what I see, so I'm going to add the cubes in. These are beef cubes, 2 of them. Okay, stir it one more time and leave it for some few seconds for the beef to be cooked, and then continue chopping my tomatoes for the salad. We call it salad, we call it kachumbari, we call it salsa. I don't know how you call this one. It's just tomato and onions. Chop them up in small pieces. Once you're done chopping your onion, your tomatoes, I'm going to check on the onion and then drain the water from the onion. Once drained, add in the tomatoes and mix with. Remember, I had put salt on the onion, so I'm not going to add any salt on it. And that's how that's done. That's done already. I'm not going to add anything more. And my salad is ready. You just mix it up to make sure it's totally combined. Because I did salt on the water on the onions, I'm not going to add any more salt. And now my cabbage is cooked, and there's my meal. That's my plate for tonight. Some mash, some cabbages, and some salad. Let's go directly to the taste. Yes, let's see. And eventually it was amazing. It was imeslap tu sana. So that's the plate. Don't ask me for the proteins. We did yogurt for that day. And that's how my plate looked like. If you like this recipe, if you can try it. Let me know how it comes for you. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.